Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, did you get to Springfest last week?
I didn't make it to Springfest. I tried.
It was a beautiful day. We had all the people on from Springfest 2 weeks ago, the Southern Pines Business Association.
Yeah, that was fun.
What a great celebration of
Usually
Southern
is.
Pines of Moore County.
Mm-hmm.
Those streets were packed.
I'm sure they were. It was a beautiful day.
It was a gorgeous day, and it kind of kicks off the summer season, which we kick off early here.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're kind of shifting gears, and May is upon us.
Right on the doorstep, isn't it?
Yeah, so the biggest event in May in Moore County is going to be the USGA's U.S. Senior Women's Open that's being held at the Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club, May the 16th through the 19th. And it's going to be a tremendous event. And I've got Kelly Miller, who is the president of Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club here, and Katherine Thigpen, who is the manager of this particular tournament that the USGA is running, and we have a lot to talk about. Kelly and I were reminiscing a little bit before the taping about the time warp that he and I happen to live in.
Yeah.
That goes back to around 1980, and the LPGA was, I would say, at their heyday. Kelly, would you agree?
Yeah, that was it seems like a lot of years ago, but we haven't aged. That's what's amazing.
No, you haven't aged,
Yeah.
and I haven't aged, and people still listen to the same music that we grew up with, right?
Absolutely.
Catherine, you haven't aged, and you make both of us look a little bit older.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I
How
appreciate
long?
it.
How long have you been with the USGA?
So I've been in the golf world for about 12 or 13 years. So I started just before I graduated college and really just been going ever since.
Were you a player?
I was not a player. I played a little bit in high school just for fun. And then when I was in college, it was just something I decided I wanted to work in, try it out. And like I said, just been going ever since. I started here actually in Pinehurst in 2005 as an intern here at the 05 Open, and then have had the luxury of getting to travel all over the U.S. doing kind of all different facets of a USGA championship, player services, volunteers, tickets, sales. So really done a little bit of everything.
The USGA runs how many tournaments a year? The Senior Women's Open is just one, but there are quite a few.
We do 14 national championships a year. So we have the 4 U.S. Opens, so your Men's Open, Women's Open, Senior Women's Open, Senior Men's Open, and then we have 10 other amateur events. So the U.S. Amateur, the 4-ball, the Women's Am, and the list goes on. So we run 14 every year.
And this event is a 4-day event from the 16th through the 19th?
It is. It is a 4-day full championship, just like any other open championship would be. So we'll play Thursday and Friday, and then we'll make the cut on Friday afternoon, and we'll cut actually to low 50s and ties. And then we'll play rounds 3 and 4 on Sunday and crown a champion Sunday.
Pine Needles means a lot to the Women's Golf Tour, and it means a lot to a lot of the participants who are going to be here. And Kelly, I'd love you to speak to that because Pine Needles is one of those, they're like hallowed grounds to the ladies tour, but there's a history to it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that is a credit and testament to Mrs. Bell. You know, one of the charter members of the LPGA, love the game, love the USGA, love people, and did so much. I obviously did a lot for women's golf, but just did a lot for golf in general. You know, really a genuine lady who loved everyone she met, said whatever came into her mind. Neat lady, and we're very proud, obviously, especially this year, hosting the Senior Women's Open. She would have loved to have been here with a lot of her friends, but I'm sure she'll be looking down with us. And then, of course, with her going in the Hall of Fame this year, it's a great year for Mrs. Bell. Well deserved.
I have a feeling a lot of the participants in this event this year feel like in one way or another they're coming home. It might be a spiritual home, it might be a psychological home, but the place that Pine Needles occupies in their psyche goes beyond just a venue.
Yeah, it's a well. I think first of all, when I say the Pinehurst area, Pinehurst, Southern Pines, Aberdeen,
Right.
really, as we call it, I like to call it the home of American golf. That was kind of coined by Bill Campbell, the president of the USGA. So, and obviously because of Mrs. Bell and what she's done for women's golf, I think a lot of people think of Pine Needles as it relates to women's golf, kids. Of course, the FCA ministry, who she felt so strongly about. So a lot of really good things and a lot of great friends have been made there.
Yeah. Katherine, one of the things that Mrs. Bell was known for, and Pine Needles was always known for, were for the youth camps that they've held through the 80s and the 90s. And but the USGA is also picking up on that, because there are a lot of activities that the USA provides for the youth, because they're always trying to introduce and reintroduce the game of golf to the generation that comes up behind us.
Absolutely. And I think, we'll continue that through the Senior Women's Open. One word that we've used in planning all of this is really to try to promote and just let everyone know that golf truly is an intergenerational sport. I think one of the neatest things you see out there, and it really rings true with the senior women's, is you see somebody like a Joanne Carner, and then right next to her is an 8-year-old little girl who's just started to learn how to play golf and is just truly in awe of her and all that the sport really has to offer. So I think we, with the USGA, our junior ticket program, 18 and under are admitted free. So all juniors are admitted free with ticketed adults. You can come in, learn the game of golf. We'll be hosting a junior clinic on Saturday, the 18th, in the afternoon around 3 o'clock. And really that's just to kind of go back to what Kelly was saying about Mrs. Bell, and really kind of getting back to, parts of the game that she loved. I mean, she loved all of it, but she also loved getting the juniors involved and really showing them about the game of golf. So we're really going to be pushing that during the week and come out and enjoy and really understand what the sport is. I think the USGA, we've spent a lot of time and energy really making golf approachable and not so intimidating. And it isn't necessarily this 4.5 hour, 18-hole commitment that you're making. There's a Play 9 initiative happening. And really that's geared towards the younger generation.
Right.
Whether you're 8 years old or 28 years old, you can come out and you can play 9 and make it a quick afternoon and make it enjoyable.
The biggest difference I see from the early 80s till today is how they're bringing younger girls into the game of golf, whereas before it might have been more emphasis on the boys.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the LPGA, USGA, girls golf initiatives are just skyrocketing. They're very popular week in and week out, and the USGA is proud to support that. And I think it's just been really neat to see the girls get involved and the females get involved just as much as the men. And really, it's kind of impressive to watch. I have a lot of male friends that are big golfers, and, because I've been involved in women's golf, I truly am, passionate about women's golf. I think it's one of the neatest sports to go out and be able to watch and get up close and personal and really be able to see what the ladies can do. And I think as, I have a 9-year-old niece, and, I'm really pushing her to get involved in golf, and just it can take you all the way through the rest of your life, really. I mean, you look at Joanne, who's 80, she can play until she's 80. So.
That's crazy. A couple of months ago, we had Charlene Hurst on the show with the Whispering Pines Girls Golf Club.
Right.
We had all these chairs in the back filled with these girls from ages 6 to ages 12. And they all came and they all spoke with Charlene, who they call Coach. Yeah. And I saw how the game of golf and what she's doing with these kids, helping bring up their self-esteem. They leave school, they have their activities, and then they have this golf club. And it kind of speaks to what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think about as, someone, if I got involved at golf at a younger age, where it takes you not only personally, but professionally. You think about how much is done out on the golf course, how many times people have business meetings and all that you can do, and leagues that you can join, and network opportunities as you get older. So it really is, it's got a wide array of things to offer.
Yeah. The event, even though the first round is on the 16th, events really start on that Monday, the 13th.
Right. So we've got a event happening in downtown Southern Pines on the 13th. We'll be screening the Founders documentary, which Mrs. Bell had a huge role in, and talks about all women in golf. We actually have some of the players that will be in town. Some of them who actually helped produce the film will be in attendance.
Oh,
and
wow.
so we're really excited
wow.
to be able to have them here. Kind of a special opportunity. It'll be at the Sunrise Theater, which is a cool theater just in and of itself, and a great place to host that event. And so that'll happen Monday evening around I think it's 5:00 is when the screening will start, and that really kicks off the week of the Senior Women's Open with that, and really kind of that's what we envisioned, kicking off the week talking about Mrs. Bell and just women in golf and how everyone got their start. When you really look at the field, these are the legends of the game. They're the pioneers of women's golf.
Can we talk a little bit about some of the participants who will be here, some of the legends of the game, Kelly?
Sure. Well, obviously, Laura Davies is going to be here, and what a wonderful woman, what wonderful representative for golf.
Yeah.
She couldn't have been nicer when she was here. I guess it was March, for the media day. So excited to be here, so thrilled to be playing, for another national championship.
Right.
Julie Inkster, trying to think who'd be.
What a grinder she was.
Yeah,
Huh?
I think we miss Annika by 1 year. I think she's 49.
In my mind, she's still 25.
Yeah, I know. She's still a tiny little gal. I remember her in '96. So
Goodness, that's right.
There's who else?
Yep, Hollis Stacy's going to be here. She's a 3-time U.S. Women's Open champion.
That's right.
You've got, and then her sister Martha Leach. She's an amateur, so she's very, you've got that civil rivalry in there as well. And you've got Amy Alcott. She'll be here. Jan Stevenson, Lisa Lott Neumann. So I believe Laura, Lisa Lott, and there's 3 others. There's 5 members in the field who actually were here in all 3 previous Women's Open fields as well. So 96, 01, 07, they competed for the Women's Open title, and they'll come back in 19 and compete for the Senior Women's Open.
And then we've got our local representatives, of course, Donna Andrews, Sally Austin, a good friend of both of ours.
Yes.
And so that Patty Moore just qualified the other day, local CGA gal.
Yep.
So there'll be some locals to really pull for as well.
It's how do the participants, how do they qualify to get into this particular tournament?
So there were several exemption categories. We have a field of 120. 54 were exempt. And we really took a long, hard look at what those categories were, because really, we haven't had a U.S. Senior Women's Open before. So it couldn't be if you previously won in the last 10 years, because there hasn't been one. So we really spotlighted on what they did when they were on tour at the LPGA, what they've done on the Legends Tour. So altogether we had 54. So that meant we had 66 spots to fill in qualifying. So we started qualifying about 2.5 weeks ago, and we have about 17 sites across the country where you could qualify. And actually it ends today. Today's the last day for qualifying. And so we'll have, by the end of the week, we'll have a set field of 120 players.
The demographics of Moore County have changed quite a bit since 1996 when you hosted the Open. We have a lot of people who have moved into the area who might think Pine Needles and Mid Pines, what a beautiful 2 golf courses on the opposite sides of Midland Road, and what a pretty place to live. I don't know that they appreciate or know about the history of Pine Needles and Mid Pines and the U.S. Open, the pedigree that the golf courses hold.
Yeah, well, it's it started out being a great golf course built by Donald Ross, 2 great golf courses with Pine Needles and Mid Pines. And, one of the amazing things about Ross is that he was able to build a golf course that was very enjoyable for the average person, but yet a challenge to the best players in the world. And I think the champions that have come out of Pine Needles of the Opens, 3 Opens that we've had, with being Annika, Kari Webb, and Christy Kerr, the first 2 were the number 1 ranked players in the world. And Christy was one of the top ranked, and she just beat Lorena Ochoa, who was number 1 ranked at the time. So the course has brought out some great champions, and I'm pretty sure it'll bring out another great champion this May.
I think of what a beautiful month May is here, what a beautiful venue Pine Needles is. And what an opportunity for parents to bring their kids to witness firsthand the game of golf in the spirit that it was meant to be played, because these impressions that these kids get are indelible. Some kids will tell you they'll go back to their third or fourth grade, the first time they saw a tournament or the first time they heard a musician play, that they got interested or hooked into something.
Right.
So it's a life-altering experience, and
is.
it's literally right down the street here in Southern Pines.
Yeah, and I think one of the really neat things about this championship is the gals have always been very approachable in all the opens that we've had. They've been terrific to work with. Love the fans.
Right.
But this one's even more unique in the fact that, all that is roped off is the tees and the greens. So you literally walk right down the fairways with them.
Right.
So you get, about as far from me to you, from these players, and a lot of them a lot of people in this area remember, like Joanne Connors, Laura Davies, and the list goes on and on. So it's a neat opportunity to see some really good golf at a really close range.
Yeah, we're talking all about the U.S. Senior Women's Open, which is going to be held at Pine Needles May 16th through the 19th. We're being joined by Kelly Miller from Pine Needles and Katherine Thigpen from the USGA. We're going to be back in the second set. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. We're having a great conversation with Kelly Miller from Pine Needles and Katherine Thigpen from the USGA, all about the upcoming U.S. Senior Women's Open to be held at Pine Needles. In some ways, this is a nostalgic, it's a trip back in time, and it is an opportunity for so many people to get introduced to some of the legends of the game of golf, the LPGA, at a venue that has a deep history and a strong connection. And Katherine, being at the USGA, is this your first event with them, or you?
Well, no, this will actually be, so I've been on the Senior Women's Open since probably 2016, I guess, is when we kind of got things started ramping up for the inaugural event last year in Chicago. So this will be the second Senior Women's Open for me, and then I've done several others.
So the USGA decided last year, or a few years ago, to start this event last year.
Well, we probably decided 10 years ago to start this event. It was just a matter of getting it right. I think that, we heard a lot of people say, what took you so long? Why now? And I think we really were very thoughtful and purposeful in what we were doing. We haven't started a national championship in over 30 years. We haven't had an inaugural event from an open championship in 30 years. So it was a time-consuming process. We wanted to be sure that we got the timing right, that we got the qualifications right, who makes it in the field. We wanted to be sure we got the venues right. We wanted to be sure that we were at championship caliber golf courses. So all of that does take time. So it's been something that's been in the making for quite some time. And then we really started to put people in place from a staff member's perspective about 2016. But just about 2 years ahead of time, we started putting faces and names on paper, and getting it all together and making visits to Chicago. We were making visits to here in the Sandhills, which we have an office here. So that part made it really easy to do and ride over.
And you're not a Moore County native, but you're not from too far away.
That's right. I'm native of Scotland County. So this is like second home to me, coming up here and being here.
She speaks like an old soul, doesn't she?
She's very experienced despite her young looks.
Very young. I remember the special camaraderie that the players in the LPGA had in the 70s and the 80s. And my guess is putting this tournament together has sort of given this sorority of players. I bet you there's been a connection amongst all of them. So getting together is in part a celebration of what they did, because they really took the LPGA and the national level with TV contracts. They were exceptional.
Right.
These people.
Yeah, I think, Catherine, you may want to talk a little bit about the Players' Dinner Tuesday and how successful it was last year.
I think that was one of the things you use that term, and their friendships, they truly are. I mean, they just go way, way back.
Right.
We had a Players' Dinner on Tuesday night, and it was really just like a gathering of great friends, and they laughed with each other, they talked, they told jokes on each other. I mean, it was a good friendship. It was camaraderie. They were just so thrilled to be back together. But now, make no mistake, come Thursday morning, it was game on. The competitiveness kicked in. They were happy for each other, but they were all there to compete. So it's a really fun relationship to watch. Even Laura Davies said actually in March when she was here, she made a comment about how I believe a young kid in the audience asked, did she ever think about giving up the game? And I think she actually said way back a long time ago when Donna Andrews had beat her at an event, she really considered, she was like, she beat me so bad. And, it's just interesting to see how far they go back. Donna's in the room, Laura's in the room. And this was, 20, 30 years ago. And this was a while back. So they have a long relationship, long-standing friendships. And so it's a really unique thing, which, you don't see very often.
The personalities of the players, I think of Laura Davies. She must have the softest voice of any player that might be imposing, intimidating, but she's so genteel and friendly and reaches out. She's outside of herself.
Yeah, you're right. She is very quiet. I had breakfast with her when she was here, and I was asking her, is there anything we could do? You're going to be playing today. She says, well, I didn't bring any clubs. And I said, well, Laura, what are you playing? She says, well, I play links. And I said, well, we don't have any of those. But she says, oh, no worries at all. Just give me a men's set with a stiff shaft, and I'll be fine.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's what we did. And she got up there on that first tee at Pine Needles and ripped it right over the bunker and flew it much further than I could. So she was very impressive lady and player.
For people who want to attend this event, you have daily tickets, you have ticket packages. Give us some logistics.
We have a couple of different options. So probably the more popular ticket that we have there is what we call a good any day ticket. We've really gotten a little bit away from the day specific. You have to commit to the Thursday. So it's a $20 ticket, and it's good any one day. So you don't have to commit in advance to which day you're coming, but you can buy that. And then if you come out on Friday, and then you decide you want to come out again Saturday and Sunday, then you can buy those online, or you can buy them at the gate.
And tell me again about the kids that come.
So kids are 18 and under are admitted free.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
You can bring the whole family.
So Pine Needles has a great facility. Mid Pines, there are a lot of parking spots, but what happens? You're expecting crowds in excess of 5,000?
Yeah, so we'll have, we're expecting over 10,000 fans over the course of those 4 days. And so for parking and transportation, all fans will park at Sandhills Community College Thursday through Sunday. So we will bus them in. It'll be that short shuttle bus ride. You're talking about a 10-minute ride or less from Sandhills Community College, and you'll actually be dropped off at the main admission gate area in Fan Central, which walks you in right behind the 18th green. So it was interesting the other day. We were out on the golf course and we were scouting out some things, and you make that walk in from the main entry, and you truly are in awe. I mean, that's truly what Pine Needles and what most people think of. You know, you look at the 18th fairway to your left, you're looking up the number one tee, or right behind the number one tee box, looking up number one fairway. So it's a very cool entrance, and we're going to do some cool things there. But that's where the shuttle will drop you off from Sandhills Community College.
And you'll have practice rounds Tuesday, Wednesday?
So we do have practice rounds for the players. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be practice rounds, but those are closed to the public.
Okay.
So we're not open to the public until Thursday, May the 16th. So we'll close practice rounds earlier in the week.
Okay. Well chronicled, I first came here in 1979. Katherine, before you were even thought of, and a couple of years ahead of Kelly, but the memories that I have of Pine Needles and the people and the world as we knew it then, we're so fond. And every time I go by there, it's hard for me to believe 40 years has gone by, maybe 38 for you, 37 for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, now you have raised a family here. Your kids are out on their own. Where did the time go? What happened?
And it goes. Sometimes the days are slow, but boy, the years go fast.
I mean,
it's amazing. And even when we were selected to host this championship a few years ago, that's a few years off. Or like in 22 when we've got the women's. Oh, geez, that's a long time away. But it moves fast.
Katherine, I tell people all the time that one of the greatest attractions of this area is that it reminds people of the towns and the villages that they grew up in as kids. And they move here, and there's it's like stepping back into yesteryear. As far as golf goes, the same is true. What they call it, the home of American golf. And now it's going to all be recreated because there's a strong nostalgic theme, I think, to this particular tournament and what the LPGA meant to golf.
Yeah, I would agree. And plus, like you said, this the home of American golf. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you remember 40 years ago, there weren't a lot of younger people here, but now
you were younger.
Yeah, but there weren't all that many of us.
That's right.
Back then. But you look at what happens now. I mean, two of my kids have wanted to come back here and live. I mean, it's a great community to enjoy. You're so close to everything, whether it's Raleigh, Charlotte, or the ocean or the mountains. Great place to live, raise a family, and the towns have done a really neat job, both Southern Pines and Aberdeen and Pinehurst, with helping to keep the ambience that we have. So fun place.
I think what's cool too about this place, being someone that's younger and grew up
much
coming
younger.
here,
right?
You think about the Raleighs and the Charlottes, and they have major sporting events and sporting teams, but they don't have championship golf. So you come here and you still you almost sometimes get every once in a while the USGA will be here for a little while, and you still have that the big event that comes here that draws people here that a lot of people look at, like a small town North Carolina maybe doesn't have to offer, but here you get the best of both worlds. You get the championship sporting event and you get the hometown feel.
Yeah, you do. The tournament is going to be televised on.
It'd be FS1.
Yep.
So our partner is with Fox, and so they will broadcast live on Saturday and Sunday from 3 to 5 on FS1. And then if you want to catch it on Thursday and Friday or earlier in the day on the weekends, you'll be able to use our digital outlets off of usga.org to watch that. So Fox has been a great partner of ours, and Julie was actually on Fox over Christmas, and she made it very clear on Christmas Eve that she was coming for Laura, and she was coming for her championship, and she wanted her name to be the second name on that trophy. So Fox has done a good job of kind of Julie is their commentator for the Women's Open, and so it's interesting to be the commentator on one and then competing in the other.
If people want to go online to research tickets, souvenirs.
So tickets will be at usga.org, or you can go to usseniorwomensopen.com. So you're going to have tickets. We'll have fan information there. That's where we'll put up all the updates, all the live scoring. Everything will be on usseniorwomensopen.com or usga.org.
Let's come back in the third set. I want to talk a little bit about how the tournament is run, how the USGA works as a separate body and sort of takes in as your child Pine Needles, and how that works, because it's not a tournament, Kelly, that Pine Needles is running, but you're giving them the course and the facility.
Correct.
And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about something else coming up, the U.S. Open, again at Pine Needles in a couple of years. There's a lot to look forward to. May 16th to May 19th, the U.S. Senior Women's Open will be at the Pine Needles Lodge and Country Club right here in Southern Pines. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final set of All Things Moore County. Our conversation this entire show is all about the upcoming U.S. Senior Women's Open being run by the USGA at the Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club, May 16th to May 19th, and we're speaking with Kelly Miller of the Pine Needles family and Katherine Thigpen from the USGA. Katherine, you mentioned that in addition to this particular event, the USGA runs 14 events a year. But the relationship the USGA has with its host courses, it's a different type of a situation than most of the tour events that we see on TV.
Right, and I think that's probably one of the more, I wouldn't say common misconceptions, but, you know, people see what you see week in and week out on Sunday or Saturday when you're watching network television and you see golf are PGA, LPGA tour events. They're tour
right.
stops. They happen in the same place every year, usually with the same title sponsor, at least for a certain number of years. For us in the USGA, we travel to 14 different golf courses every year to host the 14 championships we host. You know, with the 4 U.S. Open championships, they take the majority of them, on average, I would say, take about 2 years to plan. So we've already, you know, we're very much in the future with the Women's Open and the Men's Open, with having announced sites, you know, out from 2025 and 2027. That's really, not only is our relationship goes back with these courses for 10 and 15 years, but we really are talking and meeting and going, and we announced the Women's Open here for 2022, and I can remember, I believe in 17, we were talking about what it looked like, how things were going to work, when you'd start seeing staff. So those relationships start early on for us. We really start the planning process with the club. I mean, it truly is a team effort. We definitely don't come in and not work with the club. I think we try to build that relationship, and we build a family, which is one reason why you see us kind of coming back to some of the same golf courses every few years, because it is such a great relationship and we value it very much.
What is a litmus test that the USGA uses when they select a site?
I would love to know the answer to that question, honestly. I'm not sure. I think there's several things that go into it, if I was going to guess. You know, you look at the golf course, you look how the golf course sets up, you look at the design of all of that, but you also look at, one of the biggest things for us is the community. Where we come and the golf courses where we are, they're really in communities that support the USGA, will support the championship, you know, and quite obviously I'm a little biased because I'm a North Carolinian, but in my opinion, there's really nobody better that does it here in North Carolina. I wish we could take this community everywhere we went.
So does the USGA in Chicago, or wherever you'll sit, tell me about Southern Pines and Pinehurst? What do they think of this? They know the whole country. What do they think of this neck of the woods and this area for these golf tournaments?
Oh, I mean, I don't think there's we love it. We absolutely love it. That's the reason we've actually had an office here for about 13 years, right in Pinehurst. And I just don't think for us, obviously mainly those of us that are in the office are North Carolinians, but, it doesn't get any better than here. We have championship golf courses that not only, set up really nicely for a men's open, but they set really great for women's opens, U.S. Senior Women's Opens. And then you look at CCNC, who will host the junior in 2021. So it's not just the large open championships. We also, the amateur will be played in Pinehurst at the end of this summer. So I think this area really serves really very well for the USGA if you're talking about across the board of the 14 national championships we run. From the largest one to the smallest one, I don't think you could find a better place.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah,
Well said.
just take
Kelly?
this year for the in the Carolinas. Obviously, us starting out in May with the Women's Senior Open. Then down in the Country Club of Charleston has the Women's Open. Of course, Pinehurst has the U.S. Amateur, and Old Chatham has the Senior Amateur. So, I mean, 14 championships, 4 of them are being played in the Carolinas this year, which I think speaks well for the Carolinas, and more specifically about this area here. The local folks here have been terrific with their support. And really, the state of North Carolina has been phenomenal in their support, because, these are too small of communities to make it all happen. So North Carolina embraces it, for the municipalities, the government officials, in terms of the support they lend to it, which I'm sure the USGA doesn't appreciates as well, and maybe it doesn't happen as easily in other locations.
No, it does
so
not.
it is it's a testament to what golf means to the North Carolinians, and we're proud to be a part of that.
Kelly, on a personal level, what does it mean to you and your family and to Pine Needles to be part of this? And again, you're going to be hosting the Women's U.S. Open in 2022. Right. What does this mean for Pine Needles? What does it mean for the family, the Bell family?
Yeah, well, it's kind of what I alluded to. I think it's a tribute to this community and the state of North Carolina. Obviously, to the USGA's credit, you ask about what do they want. I think first and foremost is they want a championship test, because that's really what at the core of what they do is they conduct national championships. Now, it helps an awful lot if everything else works around it. So we're thrilled to host these championships. Part of it is, I think, and I would bet a lot of these courses, whether you're talking about whether it's the Open or a place like Marion and how many championships they have, you kind of got to give back to the game. Mm-hmm. We've all been blessed and very fortunate because of this game, and so part of the real joy in it is sharing it with others. And so, what better way to share than to have a party with 10,000 people? This May.
The event starts on the 16th. It's a 4-round event.
It is.
Practice rounds will be closed to the public, but there will be events on Monday, the 13th of May. And ticket packages are available online at usga.org.
That's right.
Okay. It's a medal play tournament.
Yes.
Is there a different playoff scenario for the seniors, for the Senior Open, than we are used to?
Well, we actually, I don't know if it was a year or two ago, but we actually across the board changed the playoff as well for the Men's Open as well as the other Opens. So we are a 2-hole playoff. 2-hole aggregate playoff, and what those holes will determine those holes the week of the championship, what 2 holes those will be. But that'll be played immediately on Sunday. Following the final round, if there's a tie, we will go immediately into a playoff with the goal to end on Sunday.
Keep the TV people happy, keep the logistics?
Well, I think
mean,
yeah, that certainly is a benefit. Speaking from the logistics side of things,
Oh, yeah.
but I also think it's from a fan perspective as well.
Yeah.
I was actually at Torrey Pines in 2008 when the last U.S. Open had the 18-hole playoff, and so many people. We had 60,000 fans there on Sunday. So many people couldn't come back on Monday to
right.
watch that moment. So I think we really took a lot of those things into consideration. You're going in, you think about if an NBA game or an NFL game, you had to come back on Monday to find out who won the Super Bowl. It's just very anticlimactic. So we thought about all of that, and you keep the buzz, you keep the hype, you keep the fans interested. We had a 2-hole playoff at the Women's Open last year in 2018, and down in Alabama, and it was really neat to see how many people really. Not only did people stay, but I think actually people got out of the bus line to come back to the 18th green and see how the event was going to end. So I think, logistically, does it help us out? Sure. But I think it's more so from a fan perspective and really keeping the energy.
Yeah. Kelly, how involved does your family get in the event since the USGA basically comes in and they're running the whole show?
Well, they've been great partners for a number of years.
Right.
And we've appreciate that relationship. And
you've had like a long dating relationship now over years, right?
Well,
Familiarity.
Mike Davis is a friend, Mike Butts. So again, great to have great people to work with and great organization. And we're excited. The golf course, Dave Frichte and his staff, Kyle Franzer did some of the restoration work. The course looks terrific, and that's one of the beauties of the game of golf. These gals are going to go out and play a championship, and they're going to crown a champion. But anybody in the Sandhills can come and play it at some point. So test out how you did against Laura Davies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Will you have the week after the Open? Will you have the course open to the public?
There's maybe something on the Monday after, but other than that, we'll be kind of back into regular business.
So you have people can come and play the golf course, but you also have different tiers of different types of memberships. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we've got we have what we call Sandhills members, which are people that live within 50 miles of here. Then we have North Carolina members that are people that live outside that 50-mile radius. And then we have national or North American members, which is anybody, really in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and then we have an international membership. And so we've got about 375 members come and enjoy the facilities, and it's been great fun. Hopefully, they've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed having them. And
this membership is it's Pine Needles and Mid Pines.
Yes, it includes Pine Needles and Mid Pines. So two great jewels. Mid Pines is sneaking up on 1921, sneaking up on 100 years. So hard to believe.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. So we're looking at a book and everything else with Lee Pace. So wow, talk about how fast it goes for us. That's 100 years for that place.
It's going to be a great event. It's coming up in really about a week and a half from now.
Thank you.
And the U.S. Senior Women's Open is going to be a throwback in time. It's going to be a celebration of a history that is steeped very rich in the golfing traditions, and it's being held at one of the most iconic resorts in the Southeast in the United States, Pine Needles Lodge and Country Club. And for those of you who have moved here recently and know Pine Needles or Mid Pines from the entrances on Midland Road as they've had to slow up their cars at 35 miles an hour, there's a ton of history behind those bushes. And it's an opportunity for a lot of people in the public and a lot of the young students to get exposure to a great game.
Absolutely.
And a great venue.
Kelly kind of had mentioned it earlier, but one of the neat things about this championship is you really can get up close and personal. Mm-hmm. So when you come out on, Thursday through Sunday, it will look a little different from a USGA championship where you can walk the fairways. People will walk right behind the players. The players encourage that interaction. So when you talk about fans coming out and really enjoying the event, you also get that intimate one-on-one kind of experience with the player.
It'll be a celebration of the relationships amongst all the participants who have known each other over 30, 35 years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Really, the gals. You think about the guys the senior guys, they play every week.
Yeah,
the gals don't. So
that's
it's
right.
a great time for them to gather and have some fun.
Well, Pine Needles is a legendary resort. Wonderful people. The USGA is a wonderful organization, and that Moore County is privileged to have the event being held here. Again, May 16th through the 19th. You can come out as early as the 13th. And the event at the Sunrise Theater is on Monday the 13th?
It is Monday the 13th. It'll happen, I believe the showing will start at 5 o'clock. Doors will open at 4:30. So the movie's about an hour and a half long. And then we'll have, like I said, we'll have some special guests there. Some of the players will be in attendance and be able to watch the movie as well.
Katherine Thigpen, pleasure to meet you. I hope to see you down the road.
Absolutely.
And your office is right here in Pinehurst.
Our office is right in Pinehurst.
You're,
So
not,
we're
you're
here.
not leaving when the tournament's over.
We are not leaving when the event is over. We will be right here.
Lucky us. We're fortunate to have you. Kelly, it's good to see you. 39, 40 years goes very quickly.
Too quickly.
Well, some things have never changed, and it's just great to be able to host you and to talk about this event at a different time in our lives. But the big winner is the local community.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for your support, and hope to see you out there often.
You will.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Come out to the U.S. Senior Women's Open in a few weeks. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.